Hello, happy holidays. Welcome to the big holiday episode of the Earthborne Games podcast, starring Santa Claus himself, Andrew Navarro. Yes.
Ho, ho, ho. Hello, hello, hello.
Andrew was about an hour and a half late because he could not find his damn Santa hat. He got it.
I had to sew one myself.
He sewed it up. It's flawless because he's a master seamstress. Bringing in the holiday spirit and not bringing it in so much as Evan, who's wearing a gray beanie, stocking cap, a toque. What do they call it in Canada? Toque. But maybe that's
Toque. You're right. That's toque, right? From Great White North.
I don't know where I heard toque, but
fool of a toque.
And we're also
I'm not
joined...
repping it. I'm not repping the holiday very well, but thanks to poor window insulation, there's like nice frost happening on all the windows around me, and that's pretty festive looking.
There was a holiday gift, that hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh,
yeah, but you kind of look like you're going to break into Macaulay Culkin's house.
Meg and I just watched Home Alone 2 yesterday, and he really ups the damage on those two poor criminals. Like, they should have died so many times. He was throwing lead pipes at their head, like starting them on fire.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Home Alone 2 is brutal.
Yeah.
Like, those guys take some punishment.
You know what always got me? This was in the first one. The one that like kills me is when he steps on that nail so slowly.
Yeah.
I can't watch that. Yeah. That's got to be the worst. Those movies are violent.
Yeah.
Just because they get up afterwards, we're okay with it. Like, 200-pound lead pipe to the face.
Yep.
That's the best part. And we've also got Andrew Fisher.
Hello.
What have you got to offer in the holiday wardrobe department?
I've got a very warm sweater. It's a very dark green, but that's kind of a slightly festive color.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I apologize if for people watching on video if my hands are working this whole time. I'm re-sleeving one of our future prototypes at the moment, and there's a lot of cards, and I need them all done before I leave to visit my family. So I'm desperately re-sleeving while we record.
Wow.
Does that mean you're making your family playtest?
Yeah. I'm gonna play. I'll play test with my family.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Well, some of them. I don't think some of them would be super into it, but
yeah, my family
brother
definitely
will
wouldn't be into it.
Oh yeah. Do you have your family play games?
Well, my brother and I do, but
okay,
that's it.
My mom is probably the least into them. My brother, my sister-in-law, my dad will all play. My mom will always try to find excuses. She's like, "Oh, I just gotta finish these dishes. Like, you guys play without me. I'll sacrifice it."
I think deep down, a lot of people are insecure about certain hobby level board games, and they just want to find a way to not participate.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, being insecure about your board game prowess.
Yeah,
doesn't resonate with me at all. Just play.
It's a thing.
It's fun. I know, and I get a little sassy when I'm playing games with family too. Like, that's what makes it fun to kind of rib each other, and it's not good when there's sensitive people at the table, which there are often. Like, come on, I'm just teasing you. I don't want to play with
Anders,
you.
I'm gonna grab a sound bite of you saying, "Don't be insecure about your gaming prowess," and I'm gonna keep that on demand when we have you play Earthborne. Anytime you show hesitation, I'll just play your own voice back at you.
That's hilarious. That's so true. Wow, that's quick. Before the show, I was saying I'm nervous about playing Earthborne. I'm nervous about playing it on camera because I don't want people to see how stupid I am when it comes to learning the rules of complicated games. But can't be that complicated, huh?
No.
You'll be fine.
Anders and I, we played chess online a few times, and I was way better when we weren't playing time chess. And then the second we played time chess, I just collapsed. I could not play. And I feel like that's what it's going to feel like when we play Earthborne on the podcast with people watching. I feel like there's a timer going and I won't know how to make decisions, gameplay decisions.
Yeah, suddenly the pressure just paralyzes you.
Because we're recording it live, right? Live broadcast. We could. Let's get a Twitch. You got a Twitch channel?
We could do it live. We can do it live on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, YouTube has live now, so we could just do it there.
That would be pretty cool.
Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comments, would you be excited for that?
I'm sure. Well, we did talk about it last week of maybe playing it tonight. So just to make sure everyone knows, we're not playing it tonight, but we did talk about
that's true.
setting up for it. So we will be doing it, but we'll be doing it in person with cameras. And
we are?
Oh yeah, we'll do it. Corey's working on figuring out how to set that up. So once he has that figured out, we'll do that. So hopefully that'll be in the new year. So who knows? Maybe next month. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we want to do it like in person with cameras instead of like over TTS stream or whatever. Just to kind of show the game playing at an actual physical table and everything. So it's a
good excuse to get together.
Production. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Who's building the set?
Corey.
Wow. Can't wait to see that, Corey.
I don't know how much of a set it'll be. I think it'll be like very thrown together with all of the cameras, all the phones and microphones we have.
Man, if it was in the summertime, it would be cool to do it in the woods or something on a mountain.
Yeah, we're going to be playing in front of a giant fiberglass reproduction of Lone Tree Station. It's going to be a whole thing.
If anyone wants to finance that, I'm all for it. So if anyone listening out there is like, yes, I want to see that happen, feel free to reach out and give us your money.
Yeah. Let's fly out to Colorado where you're inspired.
We've talked about doing that many times. I think we still are going to do that. So maybe this summer, I think once we actually have the physical game, we might do something.
That'd be fun.
Cool. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
For sure. Well, we have a wonderful show for you this evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening to it. It's evening for us. And we've got listener questions. You know what we have. First off, I'd like to say thank you to the few people that commented on last week's show about my music. I really appreciate you listening to it, including you, Andrew Navarro.
It was great.
You had some nice things to say. And so, yeah, thank you for listening. I'm glad you liked it. But we've got some listener questions here. Not quite as many as last week. That was an epic.
That was an epic week.
It was fun though. I think we did. Did you listen to it, Evan? Do you listen to the shows when you're not on it?
I listened to it while I'm working. I think I made it halfway through and then something happened. No, that's not it. I just got. It was lunchtime, and then when I came back, I ended up listening to music or something. So, actually, I just wanted to listen and make sure you guys didn't talk shit about me
in the beginning.
Okay. Oh well, the second half that you missed was all just ragging on you.
Yeah. Instead of work stories, we had Evan stories. We just talked about the worst things you've ever done.
It's a very short conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Anders went to college with Evan, so I'm sure he has some stories.
Do I? Not really.
I don't know if you do. I guess.
Here's my story. He was a nice guy. We had fun.
Thank you.
Aww.
He invited me over to his house to play. What was that zombie game called?
Zombies.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the first time I played like a independent kind of tabletop game. I didn't understand the rules, and I don't think I actually played. I just sat there and ate your giant block of cheese, which we've mentioned on the show before, I think.
Yeah. That's right. It's all tied together.
Do you still buy giant blocks of cheddar cheese, by the way?
Possibly.
In your family? Okay. All right. Our first question comes from Daniel Kem. Why do people always like struggle? You should just commit to a pronunciation that you like, don't you think?
I think it's Kime. That's my
Kime. Keum is Keim.
That's my guess.
Okay, Keim. Daniel Keim asks, I believe 3/4 of the crew are dads, and I'm a new dad myself. Congratulations. So my question for y'all is, what is your favorite aspect of being a dad? Holy crap. Fisher can answer as a dog dad too. No, you can't. No, you can. You can chime in. That's it. Did any of you guys think about this yet and have an answer?
I thought, yeah, I mean, I thought about it a bit.
Let's go to youngest dad to oldest dad. That way I can answer last.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, so because Signy's so little still, and she's not even a year old. There's the best parts are just like the routines we have each day, and seeing her get excited when she sees us, and picking her up from daycare, and when she recognizes me when I come into daycare to pick her up, and her face lights up with a smile. That's great. And bath time is fun. She loves the bath, and just the routine Megan and I have with her, in the evening once we're done with work. It's great. It's a nice way to relax. Although sometimes it's hard to finish dinner because that's right around the time when she's ready to just go to bed. So yeah, it's pretty limited at this point, but it's great. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's amazing. It's a great experience. My daughter is almost 2. The best part, there's so many awesome parts of it. It's hard to say something without it being too sappy. It's all sappy.
That's what it's all about, man.
It's just like, knowing that this little person, you remember what it was like to love hopefully you had a, safe childhood and you loved your parents. I mean, I guess everybody loves their parents, but you remember how much you kind of, that trust, that unconditional love you have for them. And then, when she's trying to go to bed and she's not falling asleep, and I lay down next to the crib and she puts her little hand out of the crib and I'm just holding her hand, and I just know that I just know how safe I'm making her feel. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's the best. Yeah. Those are the moments that make all of my sadness go away.
Nice.
So there's that. You have an older kid though, Andrew. Kids.
Yeah. My oldest is 15. My youngest is his birthday today. He just turned 12.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Sam.
Yeah. We got him a booster box of Pokemon cards.
Ooh, a whole booster box?
Yes, he was very excited.
Oh, when I was a kid, whole booster box would have been awesome.
Yeah. No, he was pretty stoked. I would say, it definitely changes, as time goes on. I think most recently, I feel like it's really cool to well, there's a couple things. So the other day I was up here working and I was listening to Sebastian play on the piano, and he's been playing piano for maybe 5 years now. And I was just listening to him play. I was like, man, he sounds really good. He knows what he's doing. That's pretty awesome. And I got really sentimental about it, just listening to him play. Mm-hmm. It was just beautiful. And it was just really cool to hear my son doing something that I could not do. I don't know how to play piano. I wouldn't be able to do that. It's pretty great. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We helped make that human. It was pretty neat. And then with Sam, very recently, Rachel reminded me of a time, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, where I said, man, I can't wait until I can play games with, legitimately play games with my kids. And Sam and I, sit around and play like, relatively complex games together. And he's always down. So like we've played like Blood Bowl together and Warhammer 40K, Pokemon, Catan. Like he's down for anything, and it's really it's a lot of fun. So just like sharing in that with him is pretty great and pretty awesome part about being a dad. I also really like watching football with him. That's also a really good time.
I can't wait to actually do stuff like that. Yeah. I'm so excited for that.
Just wait till you can actually do things instead of just looking at them and adoring them. It's pretty
yeah. I mean, that's purely the stage I'm in, is just looking at them and adoring them. And Megan and I talking about how we can't wait for when we can do this and that, and so
you'll still look at them and adore them. I still do that today. So being a dad's great. I highly recommend fatherhood.
It is. It's really hard though. So you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
In those early days, but it gets better. It gets a lot better.
It's there's challenges at every step of the way, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Well, thanks for that question, Daniel, and good luck to you. I hope that your experience. Wait, Fisher, dog dad, you get to go. Go ahead.
Dog's not quite the same.
What do you like about it, though?
Though, it's
when they
like,
pee.
It's been hard. Yeah, puppy is hard. But I mean, like, I think ultimately what I find most rewarding about it, obviously, like, I like it when he's very cuddly. So like he cuddles with us every night. I'm pretty sure he's on the couch with Sam right now. So that's nice, obviously. But I think what I find most rewarding is training him. I've been doing like pretty rigorous training with him, and like, just to see how like excited and happy he is. He's like half herding dog, half hunting dog, so he loves to like engage with it, right? And just like seeing him kind of learn and string together very actually like complex ideas, and like just kind of engaging and connecting with him on that way. That's probably been my favorite part so far. It also, it helps that every step of that process is a step towards him chewing on the couch less. But it is also just rewarding as well. So I've been enjoying it. And I do, like Sam and I plan to have kids, so I do look forward to actual fatherhood at some point.
We'll have a 4 out of 4 crew, dad crew.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I hope that helps you, Daniel. And our next question comes from Solar Jetman. I know how to pronounce that one. Is it Solar? Okay.
Well, it's all one word. So.
Solar Jetman. Which part of creating Earthborne Rangers are you most excited for players to experience? Be as cryptic as you like. Which part of Earthborne Rangers are you most excited for? Yeah, go on.
Well, I guess I'll start off. So I'll start off with a story. I don't even know. I don't think I've told Andrew and Evan this yet, but I accidentally left something in the demo campaign guide that I shouldn't have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one sentence about a reward card you can get that is not in the demo, so you can't actually get that reward card. But we do tell you to gain that reward card, and it is a moment that is like it. He said it'd be as cryptic as you like, and I'm trying to concoct my cryptic language here. But it is a reward card that shows kind of the possibilities of some of the choices you make and like how those can be reflected even in your deck. And it's a very cool moment. And the person who discovered it was incredibly excited that this existed, and was almost said they were almost happy because that the card isn't there, so that they can see it, in the full game. And like seeing that person's reaction to this, like it's those little moments of like how your choices in the game can kind of reflect back, and like seeing players get excited about them, that I think I'm most excited for people to experience. You can get so used to them working on them for like a year that like then seeing somebody's brand new reaction to it is very exciting. So I'm excited for that.
That's cool.
I mean, my answer is pretty quick. It's kind of on the coattails of what you said, Fisher. Some of my favorite art in the game is the reward card art. Some of the reward card art. So when players gain those rewards, I'm excited to hear what they think. So, yeah.
I'm just excited for people to experience the story because we haven't talked about it at all. At all. So no one has any idea what they're really getting into. I think this is pretty great.
We excised it all from the demo. Yeah.
Yeah, we've excised it from the demo. We haven't talked about it at all. Like with talking to the forum partners at one point, they're like, hey, they gave me some, I think it was like talking to Fantasia, and they kind of wrote something up that like alluded to the campaign. And I was like, well, we've gone this long without saying anything about it. I'd like to just keep it a mystery until people get the game in their hands. So I think, I'm just excited for people to actually experience the main story that we put into the game, and see what comes out of that. Because I think it's pretty cool. And I also think it's cool that we've not talked about it at all. It's probably terrible marketing, but I don't know. I made a lot of questionable marketing decisions. So far, it's been all right. So hopefully it'll continue to be okay. My hope is that people will, play it, get excited, and then, it'll market itself.
Wow, there's a story, huh?
Yeah.
I never even thought about that.
I wanted to have a late night cable access Earthborne chat show, and Andrew did not like that idea.
I would love that idea. That sounds great.
Yeah, what? Actually go down to like the local cable access?
Yeah.
Does that even exist anymore?
Now,
yeah, I was just going to ask the same thing. Can you still
want
do
them
that?
to, but
I used to do that when I was in high school. At
Really?
Suburban Community Channels up in North St. Paul.
You mean you watched them, or you somehow participated in them?
Me and my friends tried to have a show called Government Cheese.
Cool.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That's awesome.
What was the premise?
Oh, it was just, we did some man on the street moments. We were just sitting, like talk show, just go into the studio and just dick around and see what comes out. I think we only put it on the air one time, but it was fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
learning how to use
these
these big like Betamax cameras and stuff. It's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Nothing was digital, kids. Alrighty. I'm excited to experience that story now. I can't believe I never thought about, there's going to be a story happening in this game.
Yeah.
And we've never talked about it. Okay. Oh, another question from Solar Jitman. What has been the best learning experience that developing Earthborne Rangers has given you?
We're hitting all the deep questions today, huh?
Yeah. Thank you. We have a very thoughtful fan base, I think.
Yeah, I should have prepared a deeper answer for this. I can see Andrew thinking.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a prepared answer. I think from since I'm the game design guy, I'll tackle it from a game design perspective. One of the things we really tried to do in this game is tackle it from a more conversational wording approach, in how we templated a lot of the rules. And it's a bit different than how I've structured rules in a lot of my other games. I worked with a technical editor, Adam Baker, for many years, who was very rigorous about terminology and stuff. And so, we would try to do a little more programmatic rules that sometimes read a little clunky, but are more technically correct, right? But we wanted our cards to kind of read more naturally in this game. And so kind of working through that and striking that balance kind of stretched and pushed how I approach rules wording. And it really, I think, got its test when I started working with our foreign partners, who, are also coming, a lot of them, from a ton of card game expertise and, very precise language, and trying to kind of talk through that and figure out kind of like where that balance lays for each language, especially with, languages with more complex agreement issues than English has. And so, yeah, maybe not a touchy-feely answer, but a more technical answer is just these kind of like rules, wordings, complexities definitely had me thinking in a way that I haven't thought as much because of support staff I had on past teams.
Anyone else?
Andrew, did you come up with a with an answer?
I feel like the what I've learned, like it's not a slightly oddly worded question, the best learning experience. But I feel like what I've been learning through this and continue to learn is just how much there is to do. And
yeah.
That like some things that I had been maybe thinking, that part, that's the easy part. Some of that's been some of the most difficult, like, effectively where I am now. I talked about it a little bit last week, but like all of the fulfillment, was that last week or last episode or a couple episodes ago, talking about like all the fulfillment stuff. It's it's a lot. It's a lot. So like, I feel like, if I had to do it all over again, I don't know if I would make all the same decisions. And maybe have maybe a couple fewer add-ons just to simplify things a little bit more. But I feel like, it's ultimately all coming together. So I think, what I've learned is just that it's difficult to try to do everything that needs to be done and still like stay in that kind of creative, blissful state that I felt like I was in for a good chunk of the development of the game. And I'm looking forward to getting back to that once everything is kind of settled with and moving forward through manufacturing and then through fulfillment. I've been laying more foundation for that this past week. So I feel pretty good about the support that I'll be getting from our various partners, where I feel like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. This is good. This will help me out a lot, and I won't have to think about it quite as much. But yeah, I think what I've learned is just how much there is actually to do. And I felt like, even though I had a bunch of experience in the industry and, worked on a lot of big games, like you don't really get a sense working at a larger company of everything that has to be done. To your point, Fisher, about, there's like one little element of the project that you're having to deal with now that you hadn't before, but when you have to deal with everything, it really brings it home just how much effort it takes to get a product made. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, well, and to something you said a little earlier in that, I think it can be really hard to. I have deep respect for people who can juggle both doing creative work and that business work side by side every day, because like they can feel very diametrically opposed as like all this like business and logistics and like all of that, and then trying to just be wild, like, openly creative on the other hand. Like the context switching is incredibly difficult. That's something that I dealt with a lot over the last couple of years I was at FFG. Definitely still feel it here to a degree, but like I think some of the practice I got there has helped me in the last couple of years.
You got anything, Evan?
I think just learning how to efficiently wear more hats than I was used to wearing at previous places. And like you said, Fisher, about switching between two things that are diametrically opposed. Even switching between graphic design and illustration tasks seemed to be draining to me, but I knew that I could. There's just like a little minuscule mental hurdle I had to get over that seemed hard early on, but then the more I did it, the less obstructive it seemed, or it was. And that ultimately paid off in like August, when August was like probably the busiest month for me personally on this project. And the lesson I learned that month was, if I needed to get a bunch of stuff done that I didn't think I could, I actually could. I could get it all done, and that felt pretty good.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm excited to continue moving into this next project with these skills in my tool belt now, and feeling more confident about all of them, using all of them. So,
oh yeah, the next game is going to be a breeze, you guys.
It'll probably feel easier, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially, you know, having all these relationships built with manufacturing and fulfillment and all that stuff too. That work's all done, so I can just be like, "Hey, we're doing another thing," and you know that'll be a lot easier.
Yeah, you can just think about how you want to tweak or change instead of how you need to establish every single thing brand new.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, speaking from like the art direction point of view, I was making all the documentation I was sending to artists on the fly, and that was so time consuming, but I have all that stuff now. I just need to kind of tweak it and refine it. So there's certain tasks that will take less time and will be less draining on me, like psychically. So
yeah. Awesome. Okay. Next question from Quacks. Why does this is more, I assume, after having played the demo or read the rule book, but it says, why does the Ranger token add +1 for others instead of everyone? What is that?
Yeah, so basically the Ranger token gives a +1 to tests for everybody except yourself. And so other players, but not you, it won't give a +1 to you. And so I think that's what Cax is asking.
Everyone
here.
but you gets +1.
Yeah, he gets a +1 from this Ranger token. Yeah, I imagine we released the rule book, we released the demo. You can go play them now, and I imagine that's where this kind of question comes from. So we went from very high-level existential questions to very technical. Who organized this? So yeah, the Ranger token is this. Everybody has a singular Ranger token that is unique to them, and it kind of represents your attention. So different cards will require your Ranger token to be placed on them, and you only have one. And so if 2 cards are in play that require a Ranger token, you'll have to kind of choose which one. And some cards need everybody's Ranger token on them for them to be dealt with. And so these can kind of abstractly, they represent your kind of attention and focus, but they can also represent your physical presence on the card. And so, you know, it's kind of open so that cards can kind of use it in a few different ways. But ultimately, you know, you only have one attention that you can pay. And so you have to kind of like choose where your focus lies. The +1 kind of represents your ability to help out other Rangers. So because you are at this card or paying attention to this card, you are able to kind of pitch in on the tests they perform. So they get +1. However, when you perform a test, you know, you're already helping yourself. All that energy you're committing, all the cards you're discarding, that's your effort, right? You're not like lending yourself a hand, you know? And so you can't lend yourself a hand, which is why you do not get the +1. It can be, you know, a little harder to remember that way, but a lot of choices you'll see across playing this game. We've made kind of like what Mark Rosewater calls top down, which means kind of theme first, trying to represent a theme more than trying to make like a mechanically pure game or something. And this is kind of representing that theme of you helping people and, you know, not necessarily helping yourself.
I think that's awesome. Makes perfect sense to me. Next question. Virgent Admin. Will future Earthborne Games products take place in the future Earth setting of Rangers?
Some will, for sure, but some won't.
Satisfying
Done.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we're taking the time to create this world, right? So we don't want to do it just for this one game. And I'd love to be able to feature the artwork we've created in more games and as well. So, I feel like we have plans to do more stuff in the world we've created for Earthborne Rangers, and then kind of expanding out from there. But I also don't want that to limit us. Like if we have cool ideas or other cool things come our way, I'm not going to say no to them just because they don't take place in the Earthborne setting. So it will be a mix. It will be a mix.
Okay. It makes me. Have you guys ever watched the show Yellowstone?
I haven't seen it. I've heard good things.
I was sitting at the auto glass repair shop. It's just a little anecdote. Has nothing to do with anything. But they had a big TV there, and Paramount Plus was on, and there was a commercial for Yellowstone. And then right after that, and Yellowstone just looks kind of like a weird modern Western with Kevin Costner in it. And then it was like, from the world of Yellowstone comes 1884, the prequel to Yellowstone, set in the Yellowstone universe or whatever. And then right after that, it was like, and from the creators of 1884, 1932. And it's like starring Harrison Ford. It was like 1884, a Yellowstone story. I didn't realize Yellowstone had this huge like world that people are interested in.
Shared universe.
But it made me want to watch it. Like, wow, people really like this. Harrison Ford.
Isn't that just our universe?
It's just Earth.
Yellowstone, man. It's stuff that happened in Yellowstone National Park. Yeah. Anyway, that's what that question reminded me of.
Yeah. Well, branding and piggybacking on existing things is always a challenge. I mean, we did that a little bit at FFG too, like trying to brand Descent and Runebound and Rune Wars and Realms of Tyranoth and all that stuff. Like it was always just a mess of like trying to connect which brand is the biggest brand that we can slap that brand on this game to help bring more people along. I don't know if it really did anything in the end.
Yeah. Maybe that's why this stood out, is that it's kind of common in more fantasy stuff and sci-fi.
Yeah.
But just kind of like a drama, a modern day drama.
Yeah.
All right. Virgin Admin has another question. Would you consider doing an open world exploration video game? Wow. Like Skyrim? Yeah. Like Skyrim or Breath of the Wild, based on Rangers. Maybe on a different continent.
Heck yeah.
Would we consider it? Absolutely, every day.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I think that'd be great.
We just need like 150 more employees.
It's a little beyond our scope at the moment, but yes, that sounds great.
Yeah, if there's someone out there who wants to license Earthborne Rangers to make their awesome open world video game, then you know where to find us.
Didn't we talk about doing a pixel art game, Evan?
I was just talking about how I liked pixel art.
But I think that led us to saying, let's make a pixel art Earthborne game.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an open world 2D side-scrolling game? Is that even possible? That'd be boring.
I mean, like, arguably Link to the Past, right? Is open world.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Or like Hollow Knight. That's open worldy.
Yeah. The Metroidvanias are kind of open world.
For some reason, those games feel a lot more. You're right that they are open world, but they feel more kind of. You have to backtrack
guided
more. Yeah, more guided.
Yeah, because you start 3D. Off so restricted, and you have to unlock areas to progress.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's so many video games. There are probably plenty of 2D open world.
I guess that would be
out there.
That'd be a Metroidvania, I guess, would be what they call them. Okay, you guys? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
I want to hear what you were going to say.
All right, fine. There's a couple side scrollers that are like Souls-like type games that are side scrollers. Salt and Sanctuary, I think, is one. Isn't that one side scrolling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Metroidvania as well. Souls-like.
Well, I was thinking about Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2, like those games. I mean, those were.
Yeah.
I mean, they're effectively open world. You go around, you get missions. I mean, they're not purely linear.
Yeah, that's true. Like RPGs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I call them open world. With loading screens. Yeah. Open world with loading screens.
I feel like the open world, I mean, what was that? Like GTA 3, effectively the first game that was considered to be like an open world, kind of used that language.
Yeah.
At least in my memory. So maybe it's something that, was more common with role-playing games, but then became more of like an action game thing.
True.
Where you just essentially have this big playground you can go and mess around in.
Punch old ladies.
Sure. Whatever you want to do, you could do that if that's your thing, I guess.
God. How crazy are they going to be in like 10 years? Open world video games. I mean, you can really, truly like do whatever you want.
Unreal Engine 5, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of thinking when Andres was saying that about what implications like AI generated stuff could have on the scope of games.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's tied up in all sorts of like moral and legal questions about the AI generated art at the moment and stuff. And also, if that'd be interesting, you can kind of run into the oatmeal problem like No Man's Sky did at launch. But I think there could be some pretty wild stuff years down the road.
I think AI could be used to make interesting variations on like buildings that were made by human hand, and just kind of reorient structures of a village to make it seem less repetitive without stepping on the feet of a paid employee whose job is that.
Oh yeah, I think there's a ton of potential once we get past the kind of like initial road bumps that it's hitting at the moment.
We'll get there. It's growing exponentially. Okay. Enough of that. Are you guys open to fans of Rangers writing and submitting fan fiction for the game world? Or sponsoring a writing contest, perhaps?
That could be kind of cool. I mean, of course, we're totally open to people writing fan fiction set in the setting. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Who do you guys ship? Who do you ship in the world? Do you know what that means?
Cordo.
I mean, there are a couple relationships that we had planned, but I don't think actually made it into the text. So, I'd be curious to see if people figured those out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the game is pretty romance free. So you have to draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Like, I think I've said it before, but I think even more than just fiction, like the way that the game is designed, the way the cards are designed with the journal entries, like you could make your own story, playable story, in Earthborne Rangers pretty easily. Technically speaking, easily. I mean, it'd be challenging to do, but I think if you wanted to, you could make a playable story as well. I think I'm hopeful that people will do that. I think that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think that will offer some models like for people to kind of see how to do that with some of our future content. And so, honestly, yeah, beyond, like Andrew said, beyond the game design challenge, it's like the systems are set up such that like we're giving you these playing pieces that you can kind of reuse and reintegrate into your own little like designs. And so it'd be very cool to see people tell stories that I could actually play through.
That'd be fun.
It'd be very fun.
Yeah, I don't know about doing a writing contest. That sounds like a lot of work.
We did a couple of those at FFG for our RPGs, and like reviewing a writing contest. Oh my God, it was so involved.
Yeah, you guys don't need any more work.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe there's just a place you can have. Where do people post fan fiction? What is the most common? Post it there. um, okay, cool. Yeah, fan fiction. We like it. All right, Alice Dare asks me if I would like to contribute some vocals or guitars to a track I'm working on. Send it to me and I'll listen to it. And I probably don't have time. But I'd like to hear it. Send it to anderstheguy@gmail.com. I'll listen to it. All right. Chris on Discord says, are you planning to create a rules reference akin to Arkham/Marvel/Lord of the Rings for Earthborne? Rules reference.
Yes, we do plan on
What
creating
is
those games, Arkham, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, and most of Fantasy Flight's games have kind of a 2 rulebook format. One of a little background, a slight digression is we kind of found over the years, we used to, at FFG, we would make games with a single rulebook, but rulebooks kind of serve 2 functions. They serve as a reference to look up stuff, and they serve as a teaching tool to teach people the game for the first time. And these 2 uses were kind of conflicting. Often in we had to make choices that just there were mutually exclusive ways we could go with things. And so eventually we made the decision to split them and make 2 different documents to serve those 2 purposes, one to teach the game and one to act as a reference. And so we had a learn to play document that was all about the learning experience, and then we had a rules reference that you could use to kind of look up answers. And so we have a singular rulebook in Rangers that I think it does a pretty good job of teaching the game, and it acts as a reference for everything, but obviously one of our expansion content in it, and is still mostly formatted as a learning document. So because of that, I would like to make a more complete kind of reference type document that is available online and potentially formatted to make it easy to kind of search and reference online, and that we can kind of keep live with all of the updates to the game over the years. So it can be your kind of one source of truth for Rangers.
Nice.
Andrew, do you have anything else to say on that?
Nope, that sounds great. I was going to add more to the anecdote, but to say that, I think I was very happy with the move to the rulebook split. I thought, to me, that made a lot of sense, and I really appreciated when we did that, because I think the rulebooks we did leading up to that are not good. Categorically very difficult to learn how to play the game, because it tries to tell you everything before you have any context for knowing what you're doing. And I think that's what I think we tried to do with the Rangers rulebook, is to give you context for everything as you're learning. So you're not really getting rules really kind of out of the blue without knowing what they're for. And then the thing that, the document that Fisher's talking about is just something that we can, for the people who really, really want to know timings and, are really concerned about doing everything perfectly. This document will be great for that. And the fact that it'll be searchable and digital, I think, is a big bonus. That's all.
Cool. Okay. Darren's back.
Steady
Darren, man. Darren, what would we do without you? How do you prefer?
We love you, Darren.
Love you, Darren. How do you prefer to select the lead ranger in a multiplayer session? Rotate, random, same lead ranger every time? A, B, or C?
Do you have thoughts on this, Andrew?
I thought I never care. I was like, hey, do you want to be lead ranger? Or I'll be the lead ranger, and you can do it. I haven't really made any rituals around it, because it's mostly been playtesting. So it's when it comes to deciding the lead ranger, it's just someone be the lead ranger.
So yeah, in most of my games, it has been me. Just because it's kind of the person more experienced of the game, which is almost always me when I'm running a test or something. the person most experienced in the game is pretty good in that role just because they're more likely to draw more cards and be facing more challenges within reach of themselves. That being said, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. While the lead ranger is the ultimate arbiter on decision making and stuff, in almost every game I've ever played, the group's making decisions together, right? There's very little kind of contention. It's not like a backstabby, contentious game by any means. And so beyond the lead ranger drawing a few more cards than other people, the role doesn't make for that big of a difference in experience, in game experience. So it hasn't been a huge point of like, who is it and why.
Do you think people who have ventured into the mountains during the demo would disagree?
That's fair. Some people have been having some harder times in the demo. Not being the lead ranger could mean fewer Aatrox ambushes. So
fewer shale screes.
I honestly, like, if you're playing a long campaign with the same group of people, I would just rotate. Right? Everybody gets a chance. Rotate through. Everybody, even chance for everybody to be in those shoes would be my recommendation.
Cool. I'm looking at I just decided to look at the demo. How would you guys? This is my own question. I'm not gonna play it until we play it together, but I'm just looking at it. Which do you prefer, playing it like, printing it, or TTS?
Oh, we're gonna play printed.
Like, no, but I mean, like, currently, like, if you were to
what would I prefer?
suggest using print?
Printed. I mean, if you're a listener thinking about playing our demo, if you have access to me and my printed copy, let me know, and maybe I can show you. I don't necessarily, the process of printing and sleeving all those cards is a little brutal. It's a lot of work. So, like, for you, the listener, if you want to check out the game before buying it or before, receiving it next year, I would just play the TTS demo. But if you have the access to a printed version, or you would rather wait, I think the printed experience is the better experience. So those are my kind of two answers to that.
Yeah, cool. And when you print them, you want to sleeve them because they're just going to be floppy paper?
Yeah, so as I can... I'm doing my sleeving right now, so you got to get this, like, it's just this slip of paper. You can't really shuffle that. You can't do anything with that. Right. So usually I'll just have a card, like, you can just use cards from a game you're not playing, or I have blanks, and you just put them in a sleeve, and you can just slide the paper in there, and so then it shuffles and plays like a card game.
Ooh, looking at all these cards and stuff, though, it's pretty awesome, you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I haven't looked at it till now. I'm a busy boy. But yeah, it looks really cool. Anyway, back to real questions. I think, was that the last question? I believe it was. That's it. All right. Let's talk about what else you guys have been doing. And we'll start with Fisher. What have you been up to, buddy?
Oh, lots. So last episode, we announced that the TTS demo was available. It became available shortly after the episode went live. And I've seen reports from quite a few people who've been playing through it. And actually, our numbers have been pretty good on people checking out the demo. So thank you to everybody who's checked it out and had kind words to say. I really appreciate you checking it out. In fact, we had so many people check it out that my hosting solution for the images, I did not use Steam Cloud because I wanted to be able to update the images and have them just live update for everybody, which Steam Cloud unfortunately does not let you do. I have to remake the environment to change the image links. But like if I host externally, I can just update the images. Unfortunately, our hosting was not prepared for the number of times that Tabletop Simulator pings those images, and I got banned.
Oh wow!
for spamming. So, and I made a stupid mistake of, like, they were like, if this is your first offense, you can click here, and lift the ban temporarily. And so I lifted the ban temporarily and then immediately got banned again as more people tried to play the demo.
Oh, no.
So I'm sorry if last week you could not see any of the demo images. I had to move all our hosting over and re-upload the environment with links to all the new image hosting, which I did. And it was back up after like a few hours. But that does mean people whose save files are from before last Wednesday may have issues when they try to reload them because if they don't have mod caching on, because like that would cache down the images. But if they haven't done that, the images will break and you'll just have to play again from the workshop, the Steam workshop. So sorry about that. So that was some excitement last week as I was desperately relinking this TTS environment and finding a new hosting solution for our images. I ended up just going back to Steam Cloud. They don't ding you for pinging them a bajillion times. So. Beyond that, though, the core set's basically good, and so I've been working on other projects, which has been awesome. I've been working on Legacy of the Ancestors, the first expansion. I've been working on this project that I'm re-sleeving right now to test over the holidays, and I've been working on another project that I can't say much about. So my work update's a little cryptic. But yeah, it's been really good to kind of switch gears. It can be a little hard going from like straight QA work, constantly focusing on the details, to going to like early stages on a project and big picture stuff. But it's nice to kind of get that change of pace. One other fun thing that I started work on last week, I forget if I mentioned this in another podcast, but we're looking at some different learning resources to learn Rangers. And Corey is going to be working on some videos to kind of help teach the game to new players and be a resource as well. And so Corey and I met about those, and I'm really excited about the approach we're taking. I think we're learning from a lot of other games that and how they do it, and I think we're going to have a cool approach to that. And so I'm very excited about that. It's mostly Corey's work. I just get to see what he comes up with, but I'm very excited about what that could end up looking like.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
But that's it for me.
Nice. How about you? Who wants to talk next? I'll let you guys choose.
Let's do Evan, because he hasn't talked in a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you for
really have
hosting
much.
for me.
I like Fisher. I'm working on Legacy of the Ancestors stuff, and I obviously can't really go into detail. But I did take a break from what I was normally working on for this last week to do some concept sketches, and I shared those to our visual design chat. They're kind of out there. I just
saw them tonight. They're pretty wild.
I can't talk about them, but I was like, I just want to try these just to take Andrew's temperature on what he thinks of them. So I'll be curious to hear your thoughts later on.
They're pretty cool. Man. They're pretty wild.
For Earthborne stuff or what?
Yeah, just some concept sketches for things that will appear in in Legacy of the Ancestors. So
cool. Oh, that sounds cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. Not much to report. I will say, Fisher, I did feel really bad when you were talking about that issue with Steam, like pinging the image links too much and getting banned. Because I have no technical prowess in that matter whatsoever, but I there's nothing I could do to help you, and I was hoping. It was thoughts and prayers, basically.
Oh, I mean, you shouldn't feel bad, right? Like
I know, but I was like, I should try to help somehow, but I have no idea.
These kind of things happen, right? And like, I tried to head it off, but the place we were hosting, I looked into if they had traffic limit, and they don't list it. They were happy to tell me about their traffic limit after I'd broken it. The email had some details, but I went back and looked at their page, and they didn't have any traffic details. Anyway, these kind of things happen. And
Yeah.
so I'm mostly just, when you're working at home and this thing happens and you're like freaking out about it, like in an office, you can turn around and you immediately can commiserate with people and like, talk about it, joke about it, like have that human connection. But you're at home, I turn to the dog
Yeah.
and, he just like looks at me like treats.
Yeah, exactly.
So I it's just nice to post about it on our Discord and, have some people to commiserate with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, Andrew Navarro, you're up.
We're almost there. So we're almost there. So we're just waiting on one more set of files from one of our partners. And then we'll all be 100% ready to go, which is very exciting. We got all the official dial lines. Everything's done. So going to be going
Ready to print?
Yeah.
Okay.
Going to be happening very
Did
soon.
you say print, manufacture?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty just
Wow.
So the factory is closed more or less from the end of this week until January 9th, at which point things will begin. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty
So
exciting.
cool.
Pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, and honestly, the timeline on it, I was pretty pleasantly surprised. Things can take so long in like, especially if you're doing like some of the Chinese prints I've done on past projects, like can be in production for so long. And this one actually, I was pretty pleased with the
It's
numbers.
pretty short. Yeah, the number he gave me some like numbers on like actually how long it will take like each one of cards like through the machines, and it's fast. Like it'll go fast. So so that's pretty exciting. And and I've said it many times, it's a relatively simple production. It's a lot of cards, but it's just mostly just cards. So it should be pretty fast. They did finally order the new tools for the card corner. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast at all. This is exciting stuff. So like Ludofac's default corner radius, their rounded corner radius was too big. I did not like it. It's very, very round. It was and because I wanted the corners to be more like a CCG, like the standard CCG rounded corners. Yeah, like that. Yep. But they didn't have a tool for that. I was shocked. I had no idea that they didn't have that. And I was like, well, that's pretty standard, right? Isn't that standard? Like so many card games use that. Why don't you guys have that? They're like, oh yeah, no one's really asked for it. Well, he said, well, one other person asked for it this year. And they're like, are you sure you want it? I'm like, yes, I want it. Like, well, it costs more money. I'm like, so be it. So anyway, it took a little while, but they finally got a solution in place for that. There was much discussion around those corners and how best to cut them. So that's finally happening, which is exciting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, everything's rolling. And then like I mentioned earlier, met with getting all the fulfillment stuff settled. So that's pretty exciting. Getting the VAT stuff settled. I'm very, very close on the VAT stuff. They need one more document that I didn't have that I need to create. So I'll be whipping that up and then getting that to them. But yeah, it's all coming together. I'm still digging out from underneath the email mountain that I mentioned last podcast. Mm-hmm. I finally got through all of the emails in my inbox, and then I've been going through the emails and the direct messages to the info@ account, and made some pretty good progress there. I'm about halfway through, so I'm looking forward to finishing that tomorrow. That's my goal. So that's pretty exciting. And emailing, thrilling. And a couple weeks ago, I was on a podcast, which I had not done another podcast in a while, apart from our podcast. A podcast called Accidental Gods that I got invited to be on this past summer, and then finally recorded about a month ago. And that was really cool. It was it's not a gaming podcast at all. So it was really fun to have a conversation about the game and the setting that was coming at it from a different angle. So
what kind of podcast are they?
so it's like I'm not gonna really do it any justice. You should just go to the Accidental Gods website and check it out. The woman who hosts the podcast, her name is Amanda. She's awesome. She's a phenomenal writer. The write-up she did for the episode, like, literally moved me to tears. It was that good. I felt
Wow.
It was very touching. It was great. So so go check out the Accidental Gods podcast. They have a pretty awesome website to learn more about it.
I listened to it. I thought it was great.
Oh, thanks.
I loved your guys' tempo, and the whole flow of the show is it was paced very nicely. I don't know how much editing went into it, but it just seems very natural and cool.
Well, that's great, because because her side of the podcast, her audio was jacked from our original recording, so she had to go back and re-record her side of the conversation.
Oh, okay.
She re-recorded
That
her entire
sounds
side
really
of the conversation.
good for that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Like, you miss out on our kind of like just laughing together at times. So it's sometimes when I'm talking, it sounds like I'm just kind of like laughing to myself. But
she should have faked the laughter.
Yeah.
Well, and there's some things that she added in the re-record that if she had said them in the actual recording, I would have responded to it a little bit differently.
Funny.
Just because she adds a little bit more anecdotal stuff herself that I found interesting, that I would have definitely asked her a question about. So, but yeah, So if you're not sick of hearing me talk about the game yet, then I recommend checking that out.
I'm sure many people will check it out.
And that's all I've got.
Awesome. All right. Don't you guys want to know what I've been doing?
Well, yeah, what you been up to?
Well, I sat down and I set up my microphone. That's what I've been doing for Earthborne, anyway. And I met y'all, and then here we are. We're doing it. You guys get to see what I do on Earthborne every week. This is it. Wait, I guess I could say, well, I uploaded the previous podcast the day after we recorded it. But I can tell you about some cool stuff that I'm into. I guess I'm not. I haven't really done much in the last 2 weeks when it comes to like entertaining myself. I'm in more of a self-help kind of working on myself as a human mode, and I think that I guess I've been doing Snap, obviously Marvel Snap, a lot as like a form of kind of healthy dissociation. You guys know what I'm talking about? Just kind of like, I need to just kind of check out from the world right now, and Snap has been pretty good for that. But it's getting a bit boring, I'll have to admit. A little bit, just a little bit. I still look forward to playing it every day, but a little boring. And I'm like, I want to do something that's not so, because you get it feels like advertising, it feels like they're tricking you. They've got their whole little scheme going on.
Yeah, you are immersed in the brand, right?
Yeah. And I was like, I need something that's like art. And a friend of mine suggested I play Tetris Effect. Have you guys played that?
I've heard of it, obviously, but I've not played it.
I haven't either yet, but I know that it's kind of like what do you call it? When the sound and music are designed. Huh?
Synesthetic?
Yes. There's another word, though, where the sound is kind of programmed to change with moves you make, and I don't know. Some kind of sound design music creation thing where it really syncs up with things that happen in the game. And it reminded me of a game that I have played a little bit of called Yinglet. Yinglet? I don't know how you'd pronounce it. YNGLET. And the game you play as this little I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like a platformer art game, and the sound design and the music is amazing. I think it's only like $3 or $4, and it was designed that way. The guy who made it wanted it to be affordable, but it is a freaking brilliant game. Highly recommend it. I think it's on Xbox and PC. That's it. And Mac maybe. But
the aesthetic's really interesting. It like looks like it was hand drawn on a piece of paper almost.
I don't think it was. It seems a little more like vector based, but it does have a hand drawn quality to it.
What is it called? I'm sorry.
YNGLET.
Interesting.
Thanks.
It's freaking amazing. And it's really cheap, so everyone, you got to try it. And it's kind of cool. It's I think the guy who made it's from Amsterdam, so it's kind of based on like the city. I think Amsterdam. I may be getting this wrong, but like a city in the Scandinavian countries, and each location that you play at is like a level. And there's, if you want to get 101% on the game on Steam, you have to go to that location and play that level like physically.
Oh, really?
Somehow recognizes that.
Interesting.
So that's a cool like 101% thing. It's just really beautiful. It's a chill game, but it's challenging. Check it out.
It's kind of giving me Flow vibes with that.
Flow?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
There's another game called Hohokum. Have you seen that one? It's
Yes.
a PlayStation game.
I've played Hohokum. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that in a way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Aesthetically. Yeah, it's kind of like you're kind of like a amoeba. Is that what it's called? Like a, what do you call those? Yeah. Anyway,
some kind of microorganism.
And then another game I played is called Thrill Penguin. It's another really cheap game on Steam, and it's really awesome. It's like a twitchy, hard platformer where you play as a little penguin, and the controls are awesome. It just feels really great to play, and it really feels like you're parkouring your way through the levels.
Cool.
So if you have $6, no, if you have $8, you can play 2 really great little games made by one person. That's all I've played.
You know, Anders, you always start with like, oh, I haven't had time for much, but like your stuff we're into part is way more interesting than mine, at least. I feel like mine is always like, oh, well, I'm playing, you know, insert big new game here, right? Like, you know, whatever everybody else is playing. And then you're like, I've been playing these like 3 different weird little indie games.
Well, I think one person commented once that they take my recommendations, so maybe that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I love your section, and I love all the different games. Like when I saw Thrill Penguin, I was like, I have never heard of Thrill Penguin, but I'm very excited about this.
Well, the creator of Thrill Penguin also made a game called Garlic that's similar. That kind of had a moment with like streamers. I usually get these games from streamers that like to play like Northern Lion, that play like little weird games that make for good content. But yeah, check those out. Okay, but there's nothing, you bring up some pretty good games now and then too, Fisher.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always excited to see like Anders' indie game corner here.
Oh man, that's gonna make me want to like discover a new one each week. How about?
I know I'm putting the pressure on. You know, now you have to like. I want your artisanal indie game choices.
Under $5 game corner. That's what I'll do.
I have a weird hang up on Anders. You know this, where I resist playing things that people recommend or watching movies that people recommend. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too.
Because I feel like if I don't like it, maybe it'll be disappointing for them or something.
Yeah, what are you going to say next time you see them? Hey, I played that game that you loved. I did not like it.
But I do like hearing you talk about these games because you're very good. Everyone on this show is very good at talking about the things they're into, and I enjoy listening. So
Things
keep
we like.
doing it.
It's fun to do. It's fun to do. Yeah, I thought I was just going to briefly talk about those, but I must be pretty passionate about Thrill Penguin. If you like Celeste, you'd like Thrill Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Fisher. What big old game are you into?
Well, I'm still playing. Last time I mentioned I'm playing Persona 5. I'm still playing Persona 5, and I'm probably going to be playing Persona 5 next time we talk because this game is long.
But you still like it?
I am enjoying it. It's very good. It opened up and is feeling a lot more free than it did when I first started. And so yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. It's on my Switch too, so I can take it on the plane with me to Colorado and stuff. I had a brief diversion. I played the first couple hours of High on Life, Justin Roiland's new game.
Me too.
Because it was. Oh, did you?
Like right before we recorded, I played the
cool.
first little like fake video game part.
I love all the like references and stuff in it, but I do agree with what some people have been saying that it like I kind of need it in short stints because like there's just so much it's a barrage of the senses. Just constantly talking, right? Like there is just somebody doing a silly voice and a bit at all moments, which is kind of fun, but like after you've played like over an hour, you're like, okay, I need like some quiet in my life.
I heard you can turn that off. You can like turn the amount of talking off down.
Yeah, they introduced they hot patched in. It's the first hot patch to make people talk less I think I've ever seen.
Wow. Isn't the game just kind of like a not that great of a game other than the like comedy?
It's I think you basically play it for the comedy, right? It's sounds like it's a pretty. I played a couple hours and it was a pretty basic shooter, and from my understanding, it like stays pretty basic. In like when games like Doom 2016 exist that have really elevated what a first-person shooter can be, I think it feels pretty basic. So you're really just playing for all the references and Justin Roiland's comedy and stuff, which I know can be polarizing, but I found amusing. I get into that stuff.
I laughed right away. I think he what is it about double jump versus crouch? Like he chose a crouch over a double jump in his typical, voice.
Yeah, they like have a tutorial and they have you double jump and then you can't and you fall down a pit. And then he's like, wait, they didn't code in a double jump? No, we only had budget for crouch.
Yeah, you prioritize crouch over double jump. And I'm on team double jump. Some people don't believe in double jumps, but why not? Who cares if it's physically impossible?
But I had a little fun with that, and I've been debating picking up Marvel Midnight Suns. But the whole talking aspect, the fact that you like basically play Mass Effect except talking to Marvel characters, kind of, I don't want to do that. I just want to battle with them. So I stuck with Persona, where I am enjoying befriending all of my group members. So we'll see after I get done with Persona if I'm feeling Midnight Suns.
Sebastian started playing Persona 5 also.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's really enjoying it. He's enjoying it so much that he's learning to play the Velvet Room music on the piano.
Oh, that's cool.
So now I have that in my head all the
time. How old are the characters in Persona?
They're high school age.
Like his age? Did you say he's 15?
Yeah, I think they're more, in that anime
senior,
like 18-year-old age.
Yeah, young adults, but for some reason in high school anime characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, beyond that, not many other games. We had a big holiday party this weekend, which was really fun. And we did it was pretty cool. We put together everybody brought materials, and we put together all these bags, kind of care packages to bring to unhoused people. They just opened up the warming house in the park next to me to keep people warm because it's getting really cold, especially really cold this week.
Yeah, so cold.
And so, yeah, they opened up the warming house in my park, and so we've got a bunch of bags to bring to people. And so that was a fun. It was a fun activity, as a big group of friends. Other than that, I started painting again because it's too cold to go outside, and I'm started painting some Thousand Suns. You can't quite see it behind me on YouTube, but Sam's desk is just filled with my painting supplies at the moment.
Nice.
But that's it. That's stuff I'm into.
So cool, so cool. And Evan, are you still snapping it or what?
Yeah, I am, but I'm sort of in kind of a rut like you are, where I feel like an urgency to complete missions because the phone is telling me to, but I just can't fit missions into my schedule anymore. Really, I have I don't. I've said on this podcast before that I get up really early. Well, I've been going to bed later, so I get up later now. And I just don't feel like I can fit it in as much. And I'm just on this terrible losing streak. Like I keep experimenting with new decks and they just don't work out the way I want them to. And it's always the Battlefield's fault. I'm like, well, this Battlefield's ruining everything.
Yeah. I know there's some annoying battlefields, or what do they call them? Locations.
Yeah. I keep using the wrong terminology, but yeah, one of the 3 locations. So I'm sorry. My, one of my cats is clawing at the door, and I think Megan went to bed, so she can't get the cat. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
I don't think we can hear it.
Okay,
I don't think we can hear
it. This is why I don't think I would be a good game designer. Thinking about Marvel Snap, there's so many. When you're designing games, you have to design so much, it feels like, to make the game less fun almost. So like certain locations, I see them and I'm like, why would you have a location that makes this just not fun? But I feel like I would just design only stuff that like was like too much and like
game breaking.
Just every single design choice is game breaking. Like this would be a badass location. But then there's ones where it's like, you have -1 power here. It's just so boring sounding, but in the whole scope of the whole game, it makes it more fun. But there are some where I'm like, this is like, it's a detriment, but it's like also not fun. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting you say that though, because one thing that has struck me about Snap is that it is more willing to break the game than most other card games are. I think because it's only like 6 turns, they're willing to let things get completely out of hand.
But it always feels fair. It feels fair though. It feels like, well,
like those big multiplicative effects, like, oh, this location doubles power, or
that's what I live
effects,
for.
And Onslaught also doubles it. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's bombastic.
All the
modifiers.
I love that shit. Yeah,
it's definitely more than a lot of other card games would be willing to do.
Yeah,
but I always feel like, oh, I could have stopped that though if only next time I would have had this card, or that's why it feels so smart and balanced to me.
Yeah, there's like counters to everything.
But in hindsight, anyway. Enough. We've promoted Marvel Snap on the show more than Earthborne.
I know.
Well, I can't wait till the game's out, and we'll just spend every episode talking about the cool stuff that happened in Earthborne.
Well, the reason I haven't been playing it in the morning because it's been hard to get up is because I've been staying up late to play another game, which is only a matter of time before I start playing another Final Fantasy entry. So I'm currently playing one that came out last week, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion, which is a super long title for a game that came out in 2007, and it's a prequel to the original 1997 game that's starring a character that was briefly introduced in the original game, but at a very monumental, pivotal point in the story, which begged a lot of backstory and stuff, which isn't really necessary, but Square wants to make some money. So
it was originally a PSP game, right?
Yeah, it was originally a PSP game, and now it's like remastered and it's PS5 and PS4, and not a lot of the mechanics haven't really changed that much as far as I know. I don't have a PSP and never played it. But the graphics are a lot better. The gameplay is pretty basic. It's like a very stripped down, streamlined version of like the combat system in Remake. It's like an action RPG, like button masher. But there's a really weird mechanic that I wasn't prepared for. It's like a slot machine that's going every time you're in a battle, and the slot machine is constantly showing these portraits of characters that your main character has met. And when you get 3 of the matching portraits of a certain character, then it unlocks like this intrusive video sequence that interrupts the combat, and it shows like a memory of the main character interacting with this person, this other character. And then once that's done, you get access to like a temporary special ability. It's really weird, but the whole
really
game is based on it serves like this larger storytelling thing of a theme that's in the Final Fantasy VII franchises, like memory and stuff like that, in a really interesting way. So I'm playing the game not for the gameplay. I just want to have the enriching story experience that like will help me understand the story that I'm obsessed with more deeply. And thankfully the game actually isn't that hard. I'm playing it on normal, and if you just do a bunch of side missions early on, you can just go right through like the story and not be like, nothing is difficult. You can just like
just roll through
easily. Yeah. So it's taking longer than I thought. I thought that because it's a PSP game originally that it wouldn't be very long, but it's I've been playing it for a while. So anyways, that's the other thing I've been doing. And I've been painting minis like you, Fisher. So
sweet. So you like the intrusive videos in the game?
Well, I do, because it's fun to
obsessed.
see like little sequences that you don't have to endure as part of the gameplay. You know, they're just like fun little side things, like, oh, this little friendship building moment that these two characters had that happened at some point in the narrative of this story that I thankfully didn't have to play through, but it's kind of fun to see it happen. You know, it just helps you understand the characters and the relationships more deeply. In a
Do you
way
know
that,
if was the slot machine in the mechanic in the original game?
yeah, it was.
You know?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's called Mind Wave or something weird.
I theoretically played through that whole game back then, and I do not remember this mechanic.
Digital Mind Wave, that's what's called, DMW.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And it
DMW.
Yeah, it plays into the
Buy my shoes there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll stop myself right now because I could just keep talking about it.
Yeah, you're a super fan, man.
Yeah.
I tried. I want to be a super fan of something.
I understand it's tough.
Of anything, as much as you are with that.
I understand it's not like the greatest game ever. But
how much
for
of it is
reason,
just
I'm fixated on it.
attached to like the time of your life when you first played the first game? Do you think it's
Say what?
Like how much of your love is like attached to the nostalgia of that first
I think
time?
That's a big part. Because when I first saw the game being played, it was like my best friend was playing it with his brother, and they kind of were overselling the capabilities of the game, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. You mean like the story could just go in any which way? It really doesn't, but in that moment it was very magical to think about it that way. And that never really left me, I guess.
That's cool. Yeah, because I tried playing the old one recently.
Yeah.
Just looked like puke to me.
It's hard. Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah.
Just so slow, man. So slow. I can never get into JRPGs. It's just like a slow.
And it looks terrible too.
Story poorly written about boring characters. Who cares? I'm sorry. It's for kids.
No.
It's kid stuff, man.
No, I get it.
All right. This is the segment of the podcast where Anders and Evan fight.
No, he's agreeing.
I'm agreeing. Anyway. There's a lot of really dumb stuff about the game.
Like everyone talks about Chrono Trigger, the best JRPG, one of the best games of all time.
Careful.
It's like little kid. It's worse than a kids show. It's just the most generic writing characters. It's so boring for a 40-year-old man Okay, I'll stop.
That stuff. That's the kind of stuff that ends up becoming a Netflix movie later on, and people are wondering why.
Yeah, right. Okay. You had to play it when you were young. I'm sure. Okay, Andrew, what have you been into?
Not much. I actually painted a miniature the other day. It was pretty fun. I painted
what'd you paint?
I painted a Kingdom Death monster miniature, that one that I had assembled and primed a long time ago. It's just been sitting around, so I was like, I'll paint this. I got
one of the Gribbly monsters.
No, it's one of the pinup models, of like the pinup Twilight Knight, something like, I don't know. It's a woman with a cloak, wearing very little clothing and a big sword.
Sweet. Now that I can get into as a 40-year-old man.
But yeah, so I thought I'd give an update on my Kingdom Death Monster playthrough, which we've been continuing, my friends and I, to meet pretty much every Wednesday evening to play. And that's been really fun. So this is our second time through. We played, I don't know, like 4 years ago. And so we're getting pretty close to the point where we got annihilated the last time. So, but we're doing way better this time around. So
okay, you feel like could you take it this time around? Do you think?
Yeah, because we had an encounter with the with the Kingsman, which is this knight who shows up at your settlement and just beats the crap out of you. And the first time in our first campaign, we had a TPK with that encounter. And this time around, we only lost 2 characters. So 50% improvement.
All right.
So, so we're feeling pretty good. We still have about 18, I think we still have 18, 19 people in the settlement, which is pretty good. I think, again, way better, I think, than we were last time. I think we had maybe 10 fewer people. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. And we hunted the Phoenix last time, and that was pretty fun. It's like this big, gigantic bird miniature. That's the next one I think I'm gonna paint.
Dude, I'm looking at these miniatures right now, and they're freaking badass.
Yeah, they're pretty phenomenal.
Makes me
really detailed. They're really not fun to put together, but they look really cool.
You have to put them together?
Oh yeah.
Are they PVC or ABS?
They're ABS.
Nice.
But they're parted in a really non-GW way. So it's like,
what does that mean? GW
Games Workshop, they're I think the best miniatures, sculptors, engineers in the industry by far. And their kits have just evolved so much to where they're really fun and easy to put together. But the Kingdom Death monster kits are like, especially from the core game, it's just all these tiny little pieces all over the place that you're just like this little thing, and you're putting a little dab of glue, and you're trying to get this one tiny little part onto another part.
Trying to get that glue to bond.
And then you just stick your fingers together. Yeah, it's great.
Is this kind of game that it just comes with everything? It's like self-contained, or is it like
it comes with a lot? It's a pretty big box. It's like an 18-pound box or something like that. But there's a ton of expansions. I a couple of years in a row, I went and talked to at Gen Con. Went and talked to the Adam Poots, the guy who runs Kingdom Death at the booth at Gen Con, and I talked to him the year that I kickstarted the reprint, and I asked him, I was like, I went to the booth, I was planning on buying something. I was like, hey, what expansion should I get? And he's like, have you played through the core game yet? He's like, no. I was like, no. He's like, well, don't get anything.
Oh,
like,
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you don't need it. He's like, there's so much stuff. He's like, you don't need anything. Like, if you play it a lot and you want something else, or you just want a cool miniature, then maybe. But he's like, yeah, you don't need to get anything. I bought something anyway.
$420.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. I think it's a pretty fair price for what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good game.
I enjoy it quite a bit. It is pretty clunky, but that's a big part of its charm.
Okay, sweet.
Looking at
the game itself, like playing the on the board showdown phase of the game where you're fighting the monster, that's pretty snappy. But there's a lot of record keeping and a lot of bookkeeping involved, and the setup of like the settlement phase is a little it's messy. It's very messy, but we got a pretty good rhythm now though, so it actually goes pretty fast. Like setup is pretty quick. I have little bags for everything, so it makes it go fast. That's been fun. Still been enjoying playing that, and I've also this past couple of weeks finally started meditating daily, and that's been interesting. I've never really been good at meditating regularly, and I feel like it's finally something that I'm doing and enjoying, and it's been really beneficial. So I think that's been pretty awesome. Probably like trying to do like 20 minutes.
What is your technique?
Just put on some meditation-y stuff in my headphones and then sit there and focus for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Until the timer goes off.
Do you sit up or do you lay down?
I've done both. Sitting up is better. Laying down is just an invitation to sleep.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I fall asleep if I try to meditate laying down.
Yeah, there's a couple days ago I did a second meditation session where I laid down. I felt like I was all right to lay down for that one because I'd already done one earlier in the day. And it was interesting. It was an interesting experience because I kept kind of drifting in and out of sleep and having really
astral projections.
No, it wasn't. I'm not doing any
lucid dreamings.
Nope. No.
What else?
But that's been pretty awesome. So hopefully I'll keep that up. I've been good with my exercise regimen. Pretty good with yoga. I've been doing yoga at least once a week. And now the final piece, the meditation.
You're doing great.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I had a regular workout and meditation routine, and then I got a puppy.
Yeah.
Include the puppy.
That's hard. It'd be hard.
I mean, that's part of the problem. He wants to be included in everything all the time.
Just you can meditate. Just watch. Like I'm serious here. You can just watch the puppy. That can be your meditation. Like really observe its being, its essence.
I generally, potentially. I generally like. I really have to get pretty introspective with my meditation to kind of see the benefits of it, and but I have not been able to do it as regularly lately.
I like to just come to the present moment, just look around the room and just name stuff. That's my tip of the day. Just say green plant without judgment, That's my kind of meditation.
I dig it.
If you'd call it that. Well, everybody, we've reached the 1 hour and 40-minute mark, which is kind of, I don't know how. We just don't even think about it, and that's where we end. But thank you for joining us, and reach out with questions, and pre-orders are available. Tell your friends about it. Play the demo with your friends. Go to earthbornegames.com to reserve a copy of the game. And we have a happy holiday. And we'll see
enjoy
you.
Your holidays.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah, you did it.
Did the joke. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.